Only D's here. Benny Grunt. Ebo Rob. Only D's here. Benny Grunt. Ebo Rob. Piner. Leslie. Piner. Leslie.
Good evening, everybody.
Bang. Welcome to Saturday Night Bang.
Hello to everybody.
Let's all introduce ourselves, starting with the captain.
Everybody knows Captain Awesome, Rogue Nation, aka George.
GA the Gladiator. Auditor. I'm Corey. You guys know who I am.
Wrights Crispy. Finn.
Looks like News Now is having a problem.
And the rest.
Looks like News Now is still having a problem.
Maybe switch us up. Switch around the...
Yeah, shuffle. Let's do it.
All right, let's try that. Let's see if that works now.
Can everyone hear everyone?
I don't hear Paul.
I don't hear News Now.
Neither do I. Nope, there he went. He just disappeared.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got a Bluetooth hooked up or something. Or
he needs to get on that 5G, which is our topic for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Good little segue there. So 5G, what does everybody know about it? I know very little up until the last few days that I started looking stuff up, but I can share what I've found. How about you guys?
Yeah, I looked into some of the links that Fake News sent over in an email to us, and I got to do some reading last night on some of the peer-reviewed stuff. I some links to Eyes on the State, and he'll bring them up for me when I'm ready to get into it.
Cool. And see, every week we do a different topic. So far we've done, we talked about the pandemic. We talked about finances. We've talked about education, talked about the Constitution, and
talked about CPS and family court.
Yeah, CPS and DCF, Department of Children and Families, Child Protective Services, and family court. And so today we're talking about 5G networks, because every week we ask at the end of the show for people's contribution on what they want to hear. And our friend from Ireland said that Fake News, he said that he'd like to hear about 5G. And it's it's a pretty massive topic to try to tackle. That's why we got 5 people on it. Can we hear you now? News Now?
I don't know. Can you?
Yes.
Yay, I'm here. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
No, I'm having technical difficulties.
It looks like Facebook and YouTube are both working together as a good harmonious. Haha. Happy.
All right.
We got
Let's
Facebook
see.
viewers in now too, so we're gonna have to kind of
welcome everyone from both platforms. Tonight we're talking about 5G.
Oh,
Gotta make
Facebook.
sure. All right, there we
Facebook
go.
is even nice enough to auto-generate captions for us too. Isn't that just so nice of them?
Yeah, I see that. I just turned it up.
So
All right.
who wants to start off the discussion tonight, gentlemen?
I'll go ahead. Like what I've found so far, it's something that it's kind of inevitable. We got an arms race in the 60s, and now we have a communications race. The studies that have been avoided my little girl, sorry. They've pretty much been avoided because there's a professor from Harvard, Susan Crawford, who did an NPR interview about this, and she said it's patriotism over profit, and vice versa. It's which one are we going to choose? And since the Chinese have taken the lead on this for years ahead now and have gone all over the world, including our allied countries, and they've put up 5G networks around there, we're asking our allies to not take the Chinese Huawei 5G components because that's a security risk. And if we want to maintain our grip around the world, we need that, not to be compromised. So I've noticed there are pros and cons, and the cons outweigh the pros. Because the practical reasons that people are citing, other than for defense, are they're going to be running self-driving cars down the streets with it. They're going to be having doctors and people to be able to see people in real time a lot better. And I mean that sounds great, but I've heard that a lot before as just a selling point. And yeah, the cons are right on along that with the pros. It's like, yeah, we could have self-driving cars, but then once that thing gets hacked, we can have crashes. I mean, we already have crashes now, but uh, the worst cons are the health effects, electromagnetic fields that they haven't done studies on because of profit over patriotism. And I think if we don't call for our legislators to make not let this happen without studies to show the effects of the health effects. I don't think we should. I mean, I think we should pressure our representatives to allow those studies to happen. Questions, comments, agreements, disagreements? And along that, I also want to say our legislators, from what I've seen, they're clueless about this stuff. They have no idea. They can't figure out emails yet. So having the power to control what's the best decision, I don't know. We can't put it on them. So we have to make educated pleas for our representatives to do the right thing, you know? And that's why we're here. We're trying to educate ourselves on this. Questions, comments, agreements, disagreements? I can't hear a thing. Everybody's muted.
I think everybody agrees with you, buddy.
Yep.
When I started talking, I saw you look like I was behind you, sneaking up on you. All right. Are you?
I'm trying to go with the comments and pull them up for everybody and stuff like that too. So
Yeah, I see some on YouTube.
Okay. "5G Pioneer in Florida is asking, can you explain what it is?" And from what I read, and like Wrights was saying, it's a radio frequency,
A higher frequency too, which is
right, a higher than what we've been using. And
It's a wider range of the frequencies than what we've been using. So it has a lower and a higher spectrum. It falls in a larger spectrum.
Concerned Citizen says it's millimeter wave tech, and he's right. That's part of what I read, and part of what the links that Beck News provided I got into, and that's what it talks about. And who is it? Surveyor Raw asked about the depopulation agenda, I guess coupled with the 5G, and I'll go into my part if Wrights is done with his part.
yeah. I just have things to pepper in there that I'll remember as you
All right.
speak. I
right.
just I know that the another one of the negative effects is on fetuses. Like, these are just things that we know about electromagnetic fields, and if you increase them in power to where, how important is it for you to download a movie in 20 minutes versus 3 seconds? How many people download movies that much? I mean, and to be able to do that, is it that at what cost?
Well, I can tell you
Right.
the 5. Go ahead, News Now.
I was just going to say, I think from what I understand, it's the lower frequency of the spectrum that 5G operates in. The lower frequency can travel through things better. High frequencies tend to bounce off of trees and not travel very far, where low frequencies travel further and through more things. And that's kind of why when your neighbor drives by in his dropped El Camino, you can hear the bass, but you can't hear the treble. That low frequency travels through everything.
Well, that protest that we filmed down in Tampa, my phone's a 5G phone, and it picked up the 5G network down there. And you could see that live stream wasn't very crisp and clear. It didn't look like it was supposed to.
Right. Yeah, I did see that.
All right, that was actually a good point, News Now, about the low frequency and being able to hear the bass through the walls. That makes a lot of sense. Well, first, I wanted to start off with, 5G is a very controversial topic right now. You've got people that obviously question, the government story about, certain things or maybe everything. And, they're introduced to this 5G concept. And you got the trolls or the people that don't think for themselves very much, zombies, whatever you want to call them. And, they immediately label anything or anybody that questions, the official story as a conspiracy theorist. And I wanted to inform the viewers first about, conspiracy and conspiracy theories. Conspiracies have happened all throughout history. One of the most famous conspiracies, by definition, is the American Revolution. And some of our founding fathers would have been considered, by definition, as some of the biggest conspiracy theorists of the time, and even to today's standards, because here you had a group of people that were planning to overthrow the largest army in the world with a bunch of farmers. Okay, if that's not the definition of a conspiracy theory, then you're not reading you're not reading it out of the dictionary, because that's it's a group of people that are doing something that's unlawful, and they're conspiring to do it. And that's exactly what the American Revolution was, because we were under British rule, which was the law, and you had these men conspiring to overthrow the king, which was, of course, definitely unlawful. and they would conspire about it. You know, it wasn't like they just went to the bar one night and was like, "Fuck, man, let's pick up a rifle and go shoot some." You know, these guys
Well,
actually had
even
thought about it.
in more recent times, there have been conspiracy theories that have been proven wrong, involving Russia. And that's a big thing about getting the people to agree with this 5G and to railroad it through, is that Russia is going to beat us. If we don't do this, Russia and China will beat us in the 5G race. It's the new arms race. That's what I started off with, and that's what I just remembered. It's like everybody's bringing Russia up and China.
Yeah, and the reason I brought that up, obviously, if you're going to get into the 5G debate, you're either going to be on one side or the other. You're going to be on the side that believes that the government is only doing stuff out there to, ensure our safety and our protection, and it's all about us. And they're just such selfless human beings that they just want to help us out of the good nature of the heart. Or you got people like us that say, wait a minute, we got to question this. And conspiracies pop up whenever there is insufficient information or knowledge about a particular event. And usually you find that's because the government is hem hawing with the information. They're hiding information. And in this case, in the 5G case, they're just not producing any information. There's no scientific studies being done, and there's obviously no long-term studies on the health effects being done. But we do know from studies on 2G and 3G and 4G now, because those technologies obviously been around for a while, and they've been able to test them, that they have side effects, some cancer causing, and some other stuff. And we're going to get into some of the peer reviewed stuff here. Now that's in the world of the belief zombie. Peer reviewed is the holy grail of sources for information that they look for. So that's a good starting point. But also we have to remember that a lot of these peer reviewed periodicals, a lot of these I don't want to say mainstream, but I want to say like corporation, foundational type stuff, like the Weekly Standard, and the CFR's magazine, Foreign Affairs. um, those publications are definitely slanted to the elite's way of thinking. um, and it's interesting to read, like the CFR magazine. If you read that, you'll know what's going on next year with foreign policy, because they really do control that. Um, but with this 5G thing,
That's the Council on Foreign Relations.
yes, CFR. But with this 5G thing, there hasn't been enough time. There hasn't been enough scientific study on it to, let us know what could be the health effects of this. And let's be honest, they're always going to cloak what they do with something good. Just like the microchip. Yes, you can now have your kid implanted with a microchip, and they will never be, kidnapped, or you could track their every move. There's always a beautiful selling point and a real need that needs to be met there. Because obviously, no one wants their kid kidnapped, but there's the dark side, and that's how they always sell us this stuff, and that's why we're always at odds. The country's always at odds, and you always have that other side. you know there's never going to be a topic that comes around that all Americans can agree on.
It's always polarizing. Yeah.
Right. The closest we've gotten, I think, in my lifetime was the like 80 or 89% of people that didn't want the banks to get bailed out. A couple of years ago when we bailed them out, it was like 80
That
or
happened.
89%. That was the closest to a consensus that I'd ever seen in this country. on a topic, you know?
And they still gave themselves bonuses.
Yeah.
We collapsed the economy. Great job.
Woohoo!
Let's bring up that first link, Eyes. It was actually the second link I sent you, but it was the first link
The
that I wanted brought up.
Environmental Health Trust, that one.
Yeah, ETH. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, South Korea could roll it out, but see, Eyes on the State had some in Tampa when he went to that Back to Business rally.
Yes.
There was 5G network up out there. But South Korea, I guess,
this phone right
countrywide,
here.
that does not surprise me. They are very technologically advanced and materialistic, but in a, I don't know, like a culturally healthy way there. Like they do it and they are not, really suffering, you know. They they maintain their brand name life.
Yeah, as you can see here with the link that Eyes brought up, there's some published, science already out there with the wireless 2G, 3G, and 4G in use today, um, which they say pose a serious health risk to humans, animals, and the environment. These guys have also done studies on the wireless networks as it um, pertains to them being able to find their way home, like the bees, or genetic modification, and different stuff like that. Because they're saying that this 5G is really it really gets into your skin, through your pores, through your sweat glands. We'll have to scientists publish an appeal. I mean, this is again, controversial stuff. This is exactly when people need to question, because there's just not enough information. I mean, whether you believe 5G is good or bad, it doesn't matter. There's not enough information for you to make an educated decision on that. And anybody that thinks there is crazy. There's not enough information. But the information we do have for the 2G and the 3G and the 4G, logically, it seems the 5G is going to continue the trend of causing cancer, of all kinds of health issues for us and for animals, wildlife. So, I mean, it's definitely a topic that I think the nation needs to have, and we need, it should be one of the top mentions that we, talk to our representatives about, or write our representatives about. Um, because this is something that affects everybody, and who knows what ways it could be used in the future. I mean, I've heard horror stories, and again, it's just talk. Nobody knows, But if the potential is there, there's a chance that a man might use that potential. I mean, if you really think about it, you got all these 5G towers set up, and your political actors, your political opponent in one city's getting a huge lead. Maybe you turn up the juice a little bit and cook some people, so they can't vote. I mean,
Or you turn it off.
yeah. I mean, shit, anything's possible. I mean, when people say, oh, that's not possible, a lot of times that's just their normalcy bias kicking in, because that's never happened before. Just like the people of, Pompeii building their, houses right at the bottom of the volcano. Oh, that volcano's never going to erupt. And that's exactly what you see there. It's their normalcy bias. Same thing in New Orleans. Oh, that hurricane ain't going to hit us. It's going to sweep right by. Now you're drowning, mofo. Now you're drowning. So, We got to recognize when that normalcy bias kicks in. At moments like that, that's when we should be like, wait a minute, maybe this can happen, and it's just like a debate. You always want to research the other side of the topic. You don't want to be just knowledgeable on your position. You want to know what the other position is too. And I can't see any less of a discussion than what we're going to have on this 5G.
Yeah, there's no such thing as 6G, no matter who said 6G. But we do have to come up with something, like you said, to make an educated plea, to the people for education, a plea for education. We need to get more educated on how to do this safely, because we could have like the fastest, defense response, but then everybody dies a year later of cancer.
No, we don't have the fastest defense response, man. Come on, don't you remember the Pentagon plane was flying around Washington D.C. for like 45 minutes before it came down after the first tower was hit?
And we got the parking lot footage.
Yeah,
we had a few frames.
We had no aerial protection of the White House. You could have had Bin Laden with a Cessna shitting out sticks of dynamite over the White House.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. So I don't think we've got the fastest response time anymore. I'm thinking maybe a lot of those
we didn't then.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully we tighten that up. But again, that's, another conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but again, to have it, even if we don't have it now, but we want to have that with 5G, at what cost? Eugenics.
Well, right. And when are we going to stop pushing this narrative that we have to, gear up and fight other people, I mean, because these, we got a lot of people and you're right. We got a lot of people here in the B.A.N.G chat and our normal channel chats that are from all over the world. Nobody wants to go and kill other people in another country. It's always the government. It's always the secret services. It's always the defense contractors. I'm thinking about it the other day. I said, what a horrible business model to be a defense contractor if there's always peace. You're not making any money. So it behooves them to create global conflicts.
Yep.
They sell
just yesterday,
bullets and bombs that way.
Just yesterday, the Trump administration closed the loophole that was allowing Huawei to get some chips, I guess, because they're a blacklisted company and they were still getting chips like with the loophole. So they just closed it yesterday, and the Chinese government is, complaining so they're complaining, and so are our alphabet soup people. And we know through our experience that both sides are always in on it together for something, or there's a big bank behind them both. So
of course, never the leaders that go out to fight. You know what I suggest? You know what I would love to suggest that everybody in the world would get behind? If there's a problem between two countries, then the leaders of those countries should get on gloves like gentlemen, back to back, with a 6-round pistol, 20 steps each, turn and fire. That's how it should be settled. You know what I mean? Instead of sending our kids off to war, do it like gentlemen. You know what I mean? You got a problem with this guy because he's slapping tariffs on you? It's like this. It's like you're a kid in high school and you fuck with this guy. Excuse my language. You mess with this guy, okay? And then you have like 16 of your buddies behind you go try to beat up 16 of his buddies. Meanwhile, you two are over on the cafeteria having a slice of pizza and a shake, laughing at your buddies that are over there getting beat up, legs broken, nose is busted. That's what it's like. That's what it seems like to me. They're all playing golf. I don't remember if you guys remember the first Gulf War. There was a big issue with Bush out there playing golf.
Yeah.
They don't care about, sending people off to die over whatever issue that they're having. So I think they, need some skin in the game there.
Absolutely. It's always people who would never think of sending their kids, and sometimes they do. A few of them do, but the majority, it's people, and they send all our kids off. It's all walks of life. It's not just one kind. It's a classism, not racism.
Right. And people think they ended the draft, but the draft is still there. That's what selective service is, And
Yeah.
if it's a conflict that needs that kind of participation, they're going to come take your kids. And now they've got the girls in on selective service too, I believe. So now they're coming to take your sons and your daughters, and putting them over there because this guy raised the oil price, or Gaddafi, wanted to sell oil for gold instead of dollars. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions people need to ask, Let's get back on the 5G topic, though. I got another link that Eyes on the State has got for me, and I wanted to read a little bit of it. It is from one of the peer-reviewed journals.
Okay, hang on just a second.
I made it back, guys.
Welcome back, bro.
Yeah,
Yo.
Get it this way. Yeah.
I shared a video link in the
Okay.
chat too that somebody shared with me as well.
All right, yeah, that's it right there. Towards 5G communication systems, are there health implications? We're going to go through this for a minute. Scroll down a little bit with you guys. All right, we can start there. RF EMF exposure is rising, and health effects are still under investigation. This is what I was saying. They have no studies on this as of yet. I'm sure everybody can read that. That's pretty big.
I think so. I tried to make it as big as I could.
The MMW there is the millimeter wave tech that a concerned citizen was talking about earlier. Okay, go on down a little bit.
This is our next cigarettes. We're going to have a whole bunch of dead people to bring as evidence for them to do something about this.
Okay, it's been classified as possible carcinogenic to humans. And more recent studies suggested reproductive, metabolic, and neurological effects, alter bacterial antibiotic resistance. It says the biological effects of 5Gs are very scarcely investigated. I don't think any of the countries that are rolling this out has any kind of scientific study done on it, and definitely, obviously, not a long-term scientific study. It says that preliminary observations show that MMW increased skin cancer, alter gene expression, promote cellular proliferation, and synthesis of proteins linked with oxidative stress, inflammatory and metabolic processes. Could generate ocular damages, affect neuromuscular dynamics. So this is stuff. This is stuff that they're getting from the research that they've done on the 2G, 3G, and 4G. So again, there's been no real scientific studies done on this. So in effect, they're just guessing. But they've got a good base to guess from, as 5G is part of the same technology 2G, 3G, 4G is. So, on a smaller scale, I guess, with the 2G and 3G. And this is what they're saying that we can expect with the 5G. Now, yeah, that's good.
Gunny Grunt asks, "How can I avoid 5G?" And one of the stories I saw was this woman who moved to Africa. She went to Africa and was able to like decompress out there. It was relaxing, no more anxiety and stress. And I'm thinking, is that all from electromagnetic fields? It could very well be. I mean, think about like if anybody has a blue blocker on their phone or switch to night mode, you can do that and you fall asleep quicker. It's um, it's weird. It's hitting us all the time, but we've just slowly gotten used to it, and that's what I was thinking. Also, I was wishful thinking that it's going to take a lot of dead bodies to change legislators' minds or the powers that be that are putting this in. But maybe those days are long behind us. Maybe the Erin Brockovich is never going to show up, and if she does, nobody's going to give a shit anymore because they already saw the movie, and that's just not as shocking anymore. We're desensitized to all this, and we're just going to let it happen. On that happy note.
Silence.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, what can we do to avoid this other than I think some people have actually, and I'm not calling for this. I don't condone any criminal mischief or
I shared the video
damage.
already.
Yeah, people have taken to the 5G networks themselves instead of waiting for the right thing to be done by the powers that be.
There's been quite a few.
I don't know if the EPA has a stance on 5G. Was a question from Hillbilly Patriot. I haven't read that far into it. We will be getting more into it. I know I will. I'll be reading a little bit more on it and, bringing you guys what I find, and we could take it from there. Again, it's a topic I think that needs to be discussed. It needs to be discussed a lot. It needs to, be looked at. There's people already, I believe, in other countries that have the 5G network set up. So, maybe we could look to see if there's any health implications in those areas.
Yeah, let them guinea pig it.
How I protect myself against 5G, Gunny Grunt, is I have this aluminum foil suit I made. It's really nice. And I don't use the Reynolds wrap because that's too hard and it kind of chafes. So I use the generic dollar store aluminum foil, and it folds like butter. It's really nice. It smooth moves. So I wrap myself.
You also wrap yourself an entire forest around your house too, so that helps.
I do, yes, and that helps create an electromagnetic field reversal. So it like shoots back at them stronger. No, I don't know. I'm just playing.
Force field.
Use the force.
Here.
But the one thing about technology we can always be assured of, that I think we can always be assured of, is that if people are out there thinking it up, there's other people out there thinking up ways to thwart it. There's always, I don't want to say the criminal, but usually it's mostly what they would consider the outlaw of society, that's tech oriented, that finds a way around it, just like the hackers and all the other stuff. When they came out with the license plate cameras, they had somebody that invented that spray that you sprayed over your license plate, and the picture wouldn't be able to get your license plate. So, I mean, I think there's hopefully someone always out there that's, I don't want to say one step ahead, but oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a foil blanket.
Yeah, there is. They're called hackers, and
hackers and people that are socially conscious, and even people that work in the government. There's whistleblowers, and there's people that see stuff and then they realize, the oh, that's real nice. I'd wear that.
nice. I'd wear that to a rave.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be wearing that to the club next time.
Right?
I'd be like, I can't make the stream. I'm going to the club.
I'd paint a third eye on my forehead.
Wait a minute.
Get some glow sticks.
Is the hoodie sewn into the jacket, or?
Yeah.
The clubs and bars ain't open yet, so I guess I wouldn't be going there. So with the coronavirus, a lot of people were thinking that it's a stealth move to put up these 5G towers, and I know they've been putting up cell towers that look like trees and cactuses and stuff out west. I mean, it definitely seems like they're trying to slide this stuff in under the radar, pretty much. And again, I don't watch the nightly news. I don't watch hardly any news. So, I mean, they could be talking about it every night on, Tucker Carlson or whatever, whoever's Bill Riley or whatever the blonde-haired dude is from CNN, Cooper Anderson or whatever his name is. But to me, it seems like they're trying to slide it in under our noses.
Aren't they always trying to slide it in under our noses?
Yeah, I know, right? Like a dirty Sanchez, always trying to get it right under your nose.
I think if anything, at least people keep an eye out for it now. They'll be conscious of trying to look out for if they see anything going up like that.
Yeah, but what do you do about it? It's like having a tank roll up on your street. It's like, there's that tank.
There was somebody out in Tennessee. I just saw a video earlier where they burned down 6 of the towers. I'm not suggesting somebody resort to arson, but I think there are people out there that feel strongly about it, and they might take extreme measures. Yeah, look at that one. Looks like a tree. So I mean, that's just weird to me. It's a cell tower.
That looks like the worst fake Christmas tree ever.
Yeah, they have no problem putting up them god-awful windmills that you could see from like 2 states away. But with a cell tower, you got to make it look like a freaking tree. I mean, that's kind of shady.
I like what you did there. It's shady, like a tree, shady.
Well, there's a palm tree.
Oh, there's the Florida, California version.
You ever see people try to put lights up that thing, and when they get to the bulb, it just looks like a big phallic symbol. It's not a good look.
Miami Beach Audit says one tower in South Beach looks like a palm tree complete with plastic coconuts. And we got Honest Citizen in the chat. And guys, I think we're going to have Honest Citizen on here in the next week, I believe. We're going to try to get him on here and do an interview with him.
Right on.
Some tyranny that he wants to talk to us about. And so, there's a lot of stuff coming in.
Yeah, we have shows 3 nights a week now. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Tuesday's kind of an open discussion, so questions, comments, agreements, disagreements from our Saturday night show are always welcome there. And then Thursdays, I think we're doing that as like a feature of what we're doing with our other stuff, not just topics like we're doing tonight. Tonight is topics. Thursdays are what do we call that? Like a debate night or telling you what we're gonna do on our channel night.
Creature feature? Is that what he's looking for?
Creature feature with Dr. Paul Bearer.
Is it the Elvira Creature Feature Thursday night spectacular? Spooktacular?
We should do a Kung Fu theater too.
Dude, we have to do a Kung Fu theater like Sunday morning. You know how you'd get up in the morning and there'd be all those Kung Fu shows on until like noon?
That's funny.
So 33 likes, is that all we got on Facebook?
Kung Fu fighting.
We got 30 watching. I guess that's more than we could ask for.
We got people watching on Facebook too?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nice.
We got 5 comments on there. Let's see.
I'm gonna go check that out because I've never even.
So we got the website put together, so everybody can check that out. boltactionnewsgroup.com. And
quick show of that.
Yeah, John York and Aaliyah Yonder.
Just started, you know.
Yeah, they've already seen that though. Let's check out what's going on below. It's got links to all the videos. And we'll be putting up more information shortly. It's got the calendar photos as the backdrop you see there.
Links and a little bit of stuff.
So we are looking for somebody with graphic design experience. If anybody's got some free time and like to help out, and you can give one of us a shout. And Eyes on the State's really doing a lot of the technical stuff, so he would be the one to shout out to. But you could shout out to any of us. So yeah, we got a story coming out here probably right after the stream ends about the skate park in Gainesville, Alachua County, and they filled it with mulch, so the kids couldn't skate there. So me and Dr. Sean Berry, another good friend to all of us, was with me, and we just happened to be there, and we got a deep story out of it. One that we'll have to keep you updated with because there's going to be some records that need to be pulled. I mean, obviously, we want to find out how much money was wasted on this mulch they just threw in this pool so the kids wouldn't skate there.
Oh, speaking of which, you know how I was telling you about Surveyor Raw and how he went through, and I mean, there's got to be at least $100,000 in that sign campaign alone, let alone the people they paid to come up with the slogans for all those Orwellian signs that they have all over Washington in the parks.
Right.
Wash your hands like your life depends on it. This is a COVID park. If you're within 6 feet of somebody else, find another park. It's time to find another park, it says. It's so, damning.
1984-ish.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Don't turn off the telescreen.
Yeah, if you could put that up.
We have some things that could be with copyright issues and stuff like that, depending on what it is, but I didn't see any of those links come over. I'm looking now, but I'm not seeing them.
What links?
Something from Fake News. We got a whole bunch of links in that email. That's what I've been watching. A lot of interesting stuff. I couldn't watch it all, but I definitely, this is, like I said at the beginning, this is a huge topic that we're tackling just now. We're still learning. So questions, comments, agreements, disagreements on tonight's talk will help us grow and learn together. see what we can do.
I don't agree with the fact that I can
only
hear
had
you turn
time
your mic
to.
on and off.
Yeah, I only had time to look over a couple of the links, and again, I chose the peer-reviewed ones. I got to see a couple of those. I mean, there's really no sense in going through 50 different links. I mean, because we understand, or at least I understand the basic of the issue and what it's about. Now there's time to go into more research from my part on my behalf. Um, so I mean, I'm not.
I think it's
I'm,
important that we got the topic out there so people can do their own research on some stuff. There's just mainstream media doesn't make a lot of big deal about certain things. It doesn't always
Let
give
alone
you the
talk
whole
about it for an hour.
right.
Yeah. So we'll have eyes on the state. Throw those links up in the comments
I did in the chat already as we were going through them, and I can put them in the description later on.
Yeah. Put them in the description later on because he sent us a lot of links. So people, if people want to look into this topic themselves, which I encourage everybody to do. If you got a little bit of time, you could read an article.
Full set.
Yeah, read an article a day, watch a video or two a day, and just bring yourself up to speed. But again, the basis of it is that we already have research showing 2G, 3G, and 4G is harmful. It's also going to be harmful, and maybe even detrimental at a time. We don't know. Nobody knows the plans of these ruling elites but themselves. You're not in that club like George Carlin said. So, all we can do is pretty much speculate, or, if they drop a crumb or something, that sort of thing. And, that obviously that's the way that it's going to be. That's the way they're going to keep it, just like no one's going to really know if, dude was the only one that shot Kennedy. We're never going to know that information. The government's always going to keep that stuff quiet, even though it says every 10 years, oh yeah, when I'm elected, I'll release the Kennedy information, or, it's 40 or 50 years down the road. I mean, hell, we're still waiting for the outside camera footage from around the Murrow building out in Oklahoma City. They still ain't released that shit, and I think both of the guys that committed the acts are dead. So it's like, government's not going to give up that information.
Where's Epstein's footage?
Yeah. and as Gunny said, how can I, get away can we really get away? Can everybody get away from it? Can everybody find that secluded off-grid place where they can, compost their crap and grow their own spinach out of it?
Arcadia, Florida.
News Now South Florida has a survivalist prepping channel that you guys should check out.
Yeah, definitely. But listen, we are subjected, almost, you say, slavery, the whole world to a point, because we're right. There is no way to get away from it. Some people with enough money can maybe fly to, or go to Brazil or Africa or something like that. But when the world collapses, you're just a foreigner over there, and that's not going to do you much good. Unless you pick up on a lot of gold and a lot of guns, and you've made friends with the local people, and you're willing to pay them gold to protect your ass. You could be the new warlord over there or something.
This is our debt.
Yup. It keeps climbing and climbing and climbing.
We were looking at this during our finances topic. Speaking of which, besides 5G Part 2 next week, what other topics would you guys like to talk about? Let's hear it on YouTube and Facebook. But go on, Eyes.
For what, Saturday or?
Yeah, next Saturday.
And
All right.
last time I checked, there was a 3 whole people on Facebook. So,
Oh yeah.
but you may get some suggestions from there.
Yep.
I had my earphones out. What were we talking about next Saturday?
That's what we're asking people to.
Ah,
Actually,
Did
I
we-
believe
did-
Honest Citizens got in touch with us through Facebook, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
did we also mention when my earphones were out that this coming Tuesday, the chat is with, I believe, is it Eyes on the State and
Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation? Is that correct?
Yep.
So this Tuesday at 9:00. Is that correct?
I think we were doing later than that, weren't we going to?
That's up to you.
No, let's do 9. I think Tuesday, we might have something going on Tuesday night. So, of course, we we might go live we're while we're out and about.
Okay.
So yeah, 9 or 10 is good. We'll figure that out here in the next day or two, and then we'll let everybody know.
Yes,
Understood.
Captain did
Post some
shave.
community posts. And
Subscribe to all of us, and we'll all notify you when we are going live on this channel. But you can
Yes.
go to Eyes on the State.
Yes.
Yep.
You can go to News Now South Florida. GA the Gladiator. You can find them under Government Accountability too.
All the links to our names.
Rights Crispy
are all in the
and Rogue
description.
Nation.
Yep. All the
We already
links
got
see
one
in the
suggestion
descriptions.
for voter ID
Aircraft.
/ mail-in ballots.
Right? Yeah, there we go. That's a good one.
And then when you subscribe to Bolt Action News Group and all 5 of us, you can get 6 notifications for every single video. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Wouldn't that be fun? Push,
Ding.
push, push, push,
Yes, it
push
would.
notification.
Yes,
be like a
believe me, you
techno
will
song
feel
going off on your phone.
you will feel way more
That's some
important when you're getting
hardcore-
6
Let me stop.
notifications. Yeah, don't go any further.
Yes, on Saturday and on Thursday, it is the same time every week. 8:00 on Thursday and 9:00 on Saturday.
Cap, they want to know if you
Pierce says-
shaved yet.
Yeah, he did shave.
Oh, yes.
I saw a video.
Yes,
Today's
I
video
did.
he was shaving.
Yep, and
Was
I
today- was-
shaved.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say,
no,
was
that-
today's video from today?
No, the one at the prison.
The skate park kids. I didn't catch where that was.
Oh, the skate. No, the skate
was in
park video was
Gainesville.
yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was yesterday in Gainesville. I went out with Dr. Sean Barry. We did a couple of
Well,
audits
you were
out
shaving
there.
in that video, so
It's
you
a
were
pretty interesting day.
you were shaving yesterday. So I'm going to assume you must still be shaving today.
Yeah, there are some
Absolutely.
for the people on Facebook.
Absolutely.
There's no links in the description, so you could just see our names. You could find us once you get to YouTube, you can find us on there. If you just look up one of us, you could find all of us. Questions, comments, agreements, disagreements. We got a comment from it was Lion One who says, "I believe 5G attacks neuromelanin." See, we don't know yet, but that's something not far-fetched idea. You're talking about stuff that helps you go to sleep at night, and that's what I was talking about.
Yep.
You have your blue blocking app, and you go to sleep right away. That helps me. Once I saw a dramatic difference when I turned it on my phone. Everything seems like really orangey at first, then you get used to it after a day.
Yeah. Hillbilly Patriot says we should all pool our money and buy an island, Freeman's Island, 5G free.
We
like
can
it.
build an island out of plastic bottles and nets.
They've
Like
already
this one
got
guy
lots
did.
of islands built out of plastic bottles.
Some dude did that, and he's been building more and more on it, and he's got plants and trees growing on it.
Wow.
He just
That's
he
pretty
scuba
cool.
dives underneath and just adds more bottles. It's amazing.
He made his own land.
Yeah.
Like in Waterworld.
Water World.
Yes.
Listen, I want the basketball. I can name Wilson.
There you go. No, that was a volleyball.
Speaking,
Yeah, it was
right?
volleyball.
That was a, and that was a totally different movie, Castaway. But speaking of running long, with that,
Noli D, see you later.
we're at 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, we've only been on for an hour, so we got another half hour to go.
Oh, okay, all right. We're keeping it going for another half hour, folks.
What businesses, honest citizen, what businesses are in charge of testing 5G and stuff? And then can we request the results? I think you meant to say. Yeah.
No,
can we
that's
do
the
this?
thing is that they're not even bothering to test it. That they're
Yeah.
just steamrolling it through. Like it's gonna be fine, folks. We need to beat the Russians.
Yeah. Earlier, I posted a quick comment about, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, and I said, damn well they've tested it, and they know, and they're just not releasing the results.
Right. Or they tested it once and it was catastrophically bad, and they were like, so what?
There you
I don't
go. I
think
like
they've-
that, Lion. What if 5G attacks our dopamine and reward system for our brains, and it'll decrease our people's motivation if they don't feel the reward?
That's already happening if you watch that little
Yeah.
kid Ryan's channel.
That's a good point. All the social media everybody deals with now, that's all it is a dopamine rush.
Like and subscribe.
Matter of fact, I think our panel chats are a dopamine rush.
For some.
They better be for all
I
of
meant
you.
the instant gratification that social media.
Right. No, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And we're talking about like what
I was just doing a
can
shameless
we
plug.
think of, what can somebody come up with to beat this and to solve this, and who are we going to turn to? Like there's going to be some genius kid and mathematician who can but we already beat ourselves. We created AI, and I think that's a really dangerous thing that nobody wants to talk about.
I would be back.
Yeah. Me too.
Is that your Terminator
There's a topic.
impression? That
There's
was
a topic you
horrible.
can run there, sir. Maybe we should look into that more at some point in time.
Yeah, I'll be back too.
Oh, there they all go. Woo! Everybody's gone.
So
Yeah,
okay.
I think AI is definitely a topic that we're gonna brush up on. Also, some of this robotic stuff that's going on. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but
There's a lot of
like this
scary.
robotic dog that is incredibly agile. I mean,
Not only the dog. Have you seen the person shaped robot that they have?
Oh, we talked about that one, you and I think.
The MIT is it an MIT robot? I think.
Well, I think I spoke with Wrights Crispy about it as well, and he said that there's some fake videos of that out there too, because I was really impressed with the one that I saw. Like this thing was like popping off rounds.
Oh, British
at targets, but like as soon as a human got in front of it, it wouldn't it was crazy.
I haven't seen that one.
I saw that one. That was fake.
Yeah.
Hey, news now. California.
But did you guys wait till I left to get a beer to try to debunk my argument?
No, we were talking about
AI, man. That's like
we were talking about it's a good topic to discuss.
Yeah,
we're gonna brush up on it.
If you think like they know where you shop, when you shop, what you shop for,
everything.
But now the thing that AI is learning is why, and that's going to make it sentient, and it's going to turn us against each other in a way that if they haven't already, with different stimuli, it's like,
well,
go buy this, do that, watch this, vote for this guy.
Look at talking about COVID-19. You know what I mean?
Google came out just not too long ago with a quantum computer. That's the birth of the AI's birth. that quantum computer will be.
And you know, just like in every video game and stuff that you've played like that, there's the boss, right? So think of that AI thing being like Google. And it needs to have its tentacles out there to survive, which is 5G, to segue back onto the topic. It should work better with 5G. I mean, for itself, not for us. That's what I'm saying. Is like, who really cares about being able to download a movie in 3 seconds? That's not really
Probably, I would say 60% of the population of the
yeah.
United States. The United
That's
States is a consumer society.
You're right. You're right.
So they want that new movie that just came out because they've been hearing about it for weeks and weeks and weeks and months, and they've had 30-second clips shown here and there and here and there, and it's that's why people eat it up like candy. Num 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 num.
The reason that is they get pumped up by that. Again, we're social creatures, so when we go into the office the next day and we're like, oh man, I saw that new Spider-Man, dude, and your coworkers are like, man, that ain't even released on yet, that ain't even hit the movie theaters. How'd you get it? Well, I downloaded. I got a Russian data dump site that I go to. And, you know what I mean?
The one with the shadow of the crowd in the movie theater, and the guy stands up and says, "Here comes the good part."
Listen, I'll tell you. A couple of years back, I had a website. We had a message board on there, and we would trade live music on the message board. And I would scour the internet for music, and I'd be on Czechoslovakian sites and Russian sites, and just all over the internet. And even though it was a different country, you could always discern what was going on. They'd have like movie reels for like the movies, and a music note for the music. And then you'd click on that forum and you'd go in there and there'd be all this music. And, if it was an English band like the Beatles, it would say the Beatles, it'd be in English. So, you could find what you were looking for. But
Even
these guys over there, they don't care nothing about copyrights, man. I mean,
No,
I'm serious, dude. When you clicked on that link that said the Beatles, you saw their entire catalog up with links to download each.
I've watched at least 2 bootleg movies in a different language that I understand, just to watch the movie. But it was in a bootleg version where it wasn't in English. It was an American movie,
right? And when we get those hard to find items, it boosts our ego because everybody wants to be our friend, or hey, can I get a copy of that, or hey, can I come over and watch that tonight with you guys, or whatever it may be. It's a a status thing,
And it all comes back to dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who Kylo Ren killed in the last Star Wars. Do you?
oh, spoiler alert!
Yeah, I'm not sure about any of that, so I'm gonna refrain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's all pop culture stuff, and that's the consumerism. You were right. Eyes on the State. It's 60% at least. That's all they care about. And you've seen pop culture references talking about that pulp culture in Pulp Fiction, not Pulp Fiction, Fight Club.
Yep, Fight Club
You
is
get
a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leslie says the chip implants will make future humans telepathic via mainframe.
Elon Musk
Question
is talking
can-
about that right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you sent out a video earlier today, Captain, about that in Oklahoma. And, you know, that's another thing 5G is going to help run, is keeping track of every single one of us.
Yep, Elon.
Not just the 320 million here, but the 8 billion around the world.
Elon was on Joe Rogan the other day having a discussion about all of the things that he's got going on. between Starlink and he's got this other Neuralink that's supposed to be coming that he's working on that, like, let's say that somebody has a stroke and loses their speech, that this
I
is
actually
supposed
saw
to be able to help them regain their speech.
in the comments of that video, this kid was reaching out saying, I volunteered. Like, I've been paralyzed from C5 down, and I
Yup.
volunteer, whatever you want. And people have bumped up his comment to try to get it. So if you guys go and look that up, where Elon Musk is talking about the spinal
Yep.
repair neuro link thing,
We can't show
bump that kid up.
Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan loses his marbles about anything like that on YouTube, from what I understand. So I can't show any clips of it or anything like that.
Clips
No,
of
we
what?
can
Because
always
why?
use clips in fair use. But
Wait. Joe Rogan runs this channel now.
yeah, who runs this town? Joe
Who
Rogan.
it?
Did you guys see
Who's the master?
the video of the plans that they, I guess, have out in California
Show
as
enough.
far as the tracking?
You knew
Yeah.
it, Crispy. You knew it.
California.
What? I
GA.
think we might-
No,
Lost my train of thought.
Sorry, GA, because I
you said you
interrupted
saw something going up in California.
Well, we're
about
like three.
tracking.
Yeah, we're 3 topics away from that now. We can go back to 5G. It didn't have anything to do with 5G. It was just another video I watched.
That's all right. We've covered 5G for a good amount of time tonight. We'll get back on it again next week after we all had a little more time to look at the information and see what else is out there. Gosh, now I lost my train of thought.
That stuff in Oklahoma, though, that you were talking about, I found me and the captain were discussing it via text a little bit, or messenger or something like that earlier, and I found that clip is actually from like 2009 or something.
Yeah, it's an older clip. Unfortunately, the implications of what's being said in that clip and what we've been hearing are true, though. I mean, Digital Angel already has microchips that are implantable. There are people in the United States that have already received the chip. There's people around the world that have already received the chip. 5G obviously is probably going to link it together better with that chip since it's an RF chip. I mean, there's terrible, implications for this. I mean, a Minority Report type future looking like, as far as, walking by billboards and them saying, hey, hey, Captain Awesome, how did you like those underwear you got last week, or walking by the drugstore and saying, how's that Xanax treating you, and everybody on the street looking at you like they want some or something,
I like that meme you shared. How come
Rogue
the
Nation,
pillheads
your
always want to
herpes
fight?
medication is cheaper at the store down the road.
How come the pillheads always want to fight? Calm your nerves, Percules. That was great.
Hercules. That's funny. Hercules.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of topics I think we can get into. I think AI. Somebody brought up voter fraud. That's another good topic that we can get into.
No más comida.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on today that I think needs an extra set of eyes or an extra set of, 5 eyes, 10 eyes. But you can look at that stuff and, let people know.
Yeah, and you know what? It's tough. It's not just letting people know, it's convincing them that it's wrong. Because people know, oh yeah, I got the chip put in my kid. Now he'll never get lost. Shut up. Don't do that to your kid.
Right.
But
News
people
now,
are doing it.
News Now California said that they can only put a chip in his right shoulder because he's already had one on his left shoulder forever. Thank you. No, that's good. Thank you.
He's always had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I got interrupted. That was the point.
What's
Fake news.
fake news? What
What's
did
up?
he try?
What did we miss? Fake news.
Putting chips in employees. Is that what you tried, Feck?
This is your show, Fake News. Actually, this show has been brought to you by Fake News Organization and the Bolt Action News Group and everybody.
I'm looking. It looks like he might be talking about putting chips in employees, but how did he try that?
There's a link to come in the StreamYard if you want to and try.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna put it out there. I didn't get the email or anything like that. I don't know what it is. So.
It's like 4 a.m. over there, I think.
Sorry.
Staying up late.
It's either 3 or 4.
Eyes on the State was up late last night, texting us
was.
at like 5 in the morning with all the stuff he did.
He's in Belfast, Ireland.
Busy
Which I guess
working.
He's the only person who got my tank in the street analogy.
Yeah, Gunny Grunt says Gregory Howe fleeing and eluding in with deputies using lethal force. Now, supposedly, from what I understand, he had a shotgun in the truck, and he shot one time, and then the truck got out, and that's when everybody was shooting at him. I don't know if he shot or not. I didn't see a shot. I watched the video multiple times from the body cam and the helicopter. I didn't see him shoot. That's not to say that he didn't, but I just didn't see it. But I mean, even if he did shoot out of the car, it was obviously you could see that he was unarmed. He was running. He wasn't charging towards them or something. I don't know, man.
I watched the body cam footage that James Madison Audits put out. He put out a couple videos. One of the stop right when he fled, and the cop walks up, pretty close to be able to see if there is a shotgun, even if it is a pistol grip house gun shotgun on the passenger side. He would have been able to see it and detect it if there was a shotgun.
There was two cops there that looked.
And neither one of them saw the shotgun.
And neither one of them took off after him either. Right.
Because he's armed and fleeing. They didn't call that. Okay.
Cameras.
So that's what I was thinking. And I saw the shooting begin. Like he pulls into the driveway and it just pretty much starts as soon as he opens the door.
No, we didn't see the close up of it.
I didn't see the close up of it either. No, I'm not saying that.
There should have been a camera in that white unmarked SUV that was closest to his pickup truck.
And we never got that.
Exactly. We have never got that camera.
The overhead view does show that windshield breaking, but it looks like several small grouping spots that is coming from the inside out.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because you do see then the second video that the one officer does shoot through his window as he's coming up.
Right. Yeah, they saw one guy do that in a police chase in New Mexico, I think, and now everybody's like, let me just do that. Yeah, they're all doing. Let me fuck up this windshield.
They all cost
taxpayers pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean,
and kill
someone.
Definitely
looks into. I mean, first of all, as far as the body cam footage goes, like, did they shut their body cams off before they walked up to the vehicle and up to the guy? I mean, shouldn't there be body cam footage of them retrieving the evidence?
Is it still under investigation? Maybe they're
Was this guy wanted for murder?
No, he didn't have a license and took off.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if there's no gun, if there's no evidence of a gun there, it's definitely a dirty shoot. Then because I mean, Jesus, the guy didn't have a license. Maybe
Yeah.
he
Now,
didn't have
why
anything.
didn't he have a license? Child support, maybe? Could
Yeah,
that be possibly?
right.
And it
he
wasn't a
was-
high speed, dangerous chase either. It was pretty
No.
controlled and follow me home, guys. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, we gonna kill you.
He was wearing it looked like a work shirt. I mean, like you said, he could be behind on child support. He's got to go to work. Just had a crap day, and didn't want to deal with them. And if there's no gun found, man, that's going to be dirty. But I mean, from the way it looks, it's. I mean, they released the body cam footage. I mean, even if they retracted that,
Part of it.
or something, they would just blur it out. They would blur out the body and
Yeah, but
stuff
that
like
front, did they release all of the footage at this point? Because that SUV that was in the front, that should have had body cam from it or dash cam from it. And it didn't. I haven't seen any footage from that front SUV yet. The one in the very, very front.
Right. Well, they could easily say they don't have it. He didn't have it on, or that vehicle doesn't have dash cam. It was damaged last month, or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could tell us anything they want.
Yeah.
And again, so we just have to buy it, But supposedly there was a gun there. So
there's another email that James Madison Audits shared with the between the head of the Deputies Association, and it was addressed to the I guess the DeLand police chief, because he decided to remove spike strips from their patrol vehicles.
I saw that. Yes.
And boy, was that guy steamed. He was mad at the police chief. How dare you remove this valuable item to make our heroes work harder? And it was so self-aggrandizingly tyrannical that it was just definitely post-worthy. Go check it out on James Madison Audits channel.
So Miami Beach audits, the requiring the license to use public space roads violate the Constitution. I could go on and on and on about this one for a while about this, because one side of the item, which is normally, I hate to use the term, but a sovereign citizen type, would say that you don't have to have a license while not in commerce on the road.
Right, you're not a commercial vehicle. You're just traveling in a vessel.
Yup, you're traveling in your own personal conveyance, and that
Not
you
for
don't
commercial purposes.
not for commercial purposes. Meaning you're just cruising over to your friend's house, or going to get some groceries for yourself, or going to the doctor, or something like that. You're not working as a taxi driver or as a truck driver delivering goods and services from a business to someplace else. But then there's others that are, the way the law says is because it's paid with tax dollars, they can control the use of it, much like they try to tell us all the time that they can control where we can and can't use our cameras and stuff.
There's a down the street from, like, in between my house and my dad's house, there's a patch of grass that they have signs up that say city property, no trespassing. There's nothing there. Just stuff like that blows my mind. Like, if it's city property, it's the public's. So how are you telling people to stay off of their own property?
They have the same thing across the street from the Clearwater PD too. They have signs that are just sitting there on the grass that say no trespassing, city property, don't go on. So,
well, to play devil's advocate, there are restricted areas. We have the restrictions of time, place, and manner. And place could be posted signs, whether it's legal or not. We have to challenge it. Are we challenging that they're going to come up with a a reason why we got to keep off the grass or whatever. You know,
So far,
Right,
the driver's
right,
license one
exactly.
has held up pretty well.
Well, Captain, I don't know if you remember too that the bus station out here too. They had signs up all over there that say, no vagrancy, no trespassing, no all this and that. But they have those signs up just in like weird places, like a patch of grass. There's houses on either side of it, and it's just an open patch of grass. Maybe they don't want anybody building on it or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's
I
contaminated.
saw one. I saw a sign in San Joaquin's video where he was watching a police sweep of some homeless in an overpass, under an overpass, and the sign that was posted, they were like, "Why are you guys kicking them out of here?" And the cops like pointed to the sign. It was about entrances to businesses. You know that you couldn't have vagrants in the entrances to businesses. This was at an overpass. This is no business is within 50 yards of each side of where these homeless people were. But they will put those bullshit signs like you've seen. They're real signs, not bullshit signs, but in the wrong place. They've done that to us a few times.
Well, signs give people due notice, so that way they can, just like a no trespassing sign gives you, notice of, being on another person's property. Like a no parking, zone sign will give you notice that, hey, if you park your car here, might end up getting towed.
Yeah, well, legal signs, that's one thing, but putting legal signs in illegal spots to try to make it seem like that law applies there too, that's just shady AF. And they do that to us all the time. We were just talking about it in the other stream when they did that at the tax collector in Newport Richie. That
Or all those
Privacy Act.
Right, right.
Buildings, those public buildings that we've went to where they have signs out saying that, that the police can, if the police ask you, they automatically give the police that agent status with those signs. So
Gas
if the police
station
show up and
right.
tell you to leave,
Like they
yeah.
can trespass you themselves without having to get the manager, right?
Those signs are all over in Clearwater on a lot of the Scientology buildings over there.
Yeah. I mean, they're, like you said, they're shady in how they enforce it, but with those signs up, they will come around and arrest you.
I think I have some pictures of them.
And it'll be up to you to take it to court and fight it. Pissed off taxpayer just lost the case up north where he was in a police department lobby and they had to sign up no recording, and the officer gave, again, reasonable objections like, oh, there's, confidential informants that come in here, and there's confidential information and the walls are thin and this and that. So, and he didn't really, or his lawyer, I guess, didn't rebut it in a convincing way, and he ended up losing the case, and he got charged with trespassing.
He lived
Again,
up to his name.
yeah, again, it could be also that the judge just, again, is corrupt and just didn't care. Which is something that we have to look at as well. And it's another reason why not to get arrested, because you don't know, you're always going to get a fair shake. Even if you know the law's on your side, you don't know that you're going to get a fair shake. There's been a lot of people that had a lot of the law on their side and still didn't get a fair shake. So I mean, it's a rough call.
Yeah, I did nothing wrong when I got arrested. Absolutely nothing wrong. And I just barely escaped this flawed justice system.
Right. And it costs money, and it costs money, and it costs time.
Yep.
The only people that should be talking about getting arrested is the people out on the street. That's actually putting their freedom, their time, and their money up on the line. Because anything else.
Oh yeah, commenters that say, "Oh, you should take the hit, go to jail, or else they're not going to learn anything." Man, shut the you're not doing anything on your channel. You have nothing going on. If you
Lion
were
One
another
has a good
auditor, I want to
Lion
see
One.
how you do it on your channel.
Right.
Don't tell me
Right.
how to do it on mine.
Right. Yeah, because when they say that, I'm thinking to myself, dude, there's no auditor out there getting arrested every freaking week. You know what I mean?
It's impossible.
Right. Well, I mean, it's possible, but
Well,
why?
eventually eventually your bond won't be able to get, taken out.
Right. And again, too, when you look at some of these guys, they give us examples as auditors that push it to the limit. If you really watch the videos, you notice that these auditors that are pushing it to the limit are standing on public sidewalks. They're not inside of a DMV. They're not inside of
Right.
a lot of these places, uh, and pushing the limit. You know what I mean? They're 100% where they could sue the easiest if they did get arrested. You know what I mean? It's not some place that they're going to have to battle it out in court, and it might go against them and it might not go against them. You know what I mean? They're not. To me, they're not pushing the limits. Pushing the limits is going in places, in public places where a lot of times people, especially the trolls, will say, "Well, got no right to be in there. That's a non-public forum," or you're traipsing around the country doing all these auditing videos, but you're not focusing on the circuits that have yet to declare recording police a right. I think there's like 2 or 3 circuits out there that it's still not a recognized right to record police. So, I mean,
Yeah, here to all those trolls who say, "Hey, you should," and not just trolls, other people who say you should get arrested. You should stand there and push that limit. I see that, and I raise you. You should go into a courtroom and record in there and show us that. I think Captain Awesome has done that once, right? Or twice.
Yeah, I've actually done it 3 times now, and the first 2
Okay.
times they were very resistant. The first judge, she recessed for the day, and then the second one actually asked. You won't believe this. She asked the defendant if he gave consent to
I
be
remember
recorded.
that.
Yeah, and he said
Yeah.
no. So she's like, "Oh, you got to leave." I'm like, "Are you insane?"
Yeah. Soliciting a trespass
Yeah,
from a defendant.
I mean, it was ridiculous. But the third time, I went through the proper channels. I went through the court administrator. I got an okay, and that was for the Tyranny in Holmes County case. Unfortunately, the case they were hearing today wasn't a trial or nothing, so we didn't get anything really great. But it was nice to be in there and be able to film them and to give them some support because they've been going through a lot up there in Holmes County, this particular family. So it was nice to go up there and spend some time with them and let them know that they weren't alone and that other people, were thinking about them and sympathize with their plight against tyranny, because a lot of us go through it. Um, some, I guess, people might say it's brought upon us by our actions, as auditing or whatever else. But even assholes have rights, and the measure, I guess, of a man, especially
Shout
a
out to
man in
Ian McGuire.
uniform, is if he can handle the extreme circumstances of his job and remain cool, calm, and collected. Um, and that's what I try to do. Um, when I work in the food service industry, and they have a term called getting slammed or being slammed. I don't
In the weeds.
in the weeds, right? I don't go into hyper overdrive crazy person. You got to stay calm and collected whenever you're under any kind of pressure in order to do the job correctly. It doesn't matter if you're the guy with the hand on the nuclear missile button, or if you're a cop with a gun, or if you're a firefighter with an axe. I mean, you got to stay cool and calm under pressure in order to get the job done right and get it done correctly. And if some asshole is going to trigger you, even though he's not broken the law, and you flip out and slam him on the ground, or like we saw the video the other day, right, in Orlando, and I'd seen that video before, by the way,
Yeah.
where the
Where
cop
you got choked.
where he pushed the guy down and started choking him, because the guy supposedly walked up on him. I mean, that's obviously behavior that's not fit for that kind of position. He should be like maybe a boxing instructor or something. That way he can get out his aggression on the other boxers.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, we all got a job that fits us to a T, and sometimes we're just not in that right job. And I see a lot of that with the law enforcement. They're not in the right job.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are not in the right mind are in that job. It draws them. They seek to join the system so they can beat it and do all their atrocious crimes that they
Hang
do
on.
behind the badge.
I think we have to play squares again.
Why?
Some people couldn't hear me.
Okay. We should
How's
all.
that?
Who's trying to talk that they couldn't hear?
Me.
Oh, I heard you fine.
I did too.
Yeah, I heard you pretty good.
It was my
Okay.
It was
That was
my
it.
stupid iPhone again.
Oh, always.
I brought this up in one of y'all's shows earlier in the week, but I was in the chat when I asked. Has anybody else been hit with like, oh, well, you have an opinion on how policing should be so much? Why don't you be a cop?
No.
Nobody else has ever said that to any of y'all?
I'd like to see you go through the academy and all that stuff. Yeah, I've gotten it.
Listen, I've got the book that they use at the academy. I'll be happy to share it with anybody that would like it. It's a hard copy. It's not digital, so I can't email it or nothing, but I'd be happy to share it with anybody. But it took me all of about 2 days to read through it, and there's very little law in there. And it's actually depressing, really, to see that this is what it takes to become an officer. It's not a very thick book, uh, So
Now that you brought up law, also Lion One had a suggestion for a topic, which would be lawyers in the bar association.
oh yeah, that would be a good topic. What?
Yeah, because
and remember them.
yeah, and ACAP complaints. We can do that.
I started to starting to think to tell my niece that she needs to become a lawyer when she grows up, or at least start learning about the law, because it seems to be the only thing that's definite we all have to deal with as adults.
Yeah, it's definitely something that every adult has to deal with in his life at some point or other, be it with a contract, be it with a mortgage, and the simple fact has always been is that those that know the law will always screw those that don't know the law.
Yep.
It's just human nature. So, I mean, I would definitely suggest that everybody take some time to learn the law. Not when you need the law. A lot of people go into law when they need the law, like when their child has been taken by CPS. Then they'll, decide to pick up a law book. But the time to learn the law is actually before you need the law.
Yeah, it's very.
Because
I didn't mean to cut you
that
off,
way
Captain.
you can avoid needing it.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Captain, but it's like anything with human nature. We're a very reactive species. We're not a very proactive species. But the time to know law is proactively. You should know it ahead of time.
You know what I've seen a lot though is that this not only helps make change in departments that we visited where they see their bad apples and they try to fix them, and they double down and go stupid, and we put light on that, like Charlotte County. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah,
rewinding. So let me have a second to rewind
Yeah.
back to Captain's conversation about his police academy book, and I, while you were talking about that, Captain, I couldn't help but think, it's obviously way more important to learn how to use your handcuffs, how to use your gun as a police officer, than it is to learn why to use your handcuffs or why or when to use your gun. Clearly, I say that, of course,
That's what I was going to say.
rhetorically.
That reminded me of it because, like, we've seen changes happen in the government. We're seeing changes happen in the community with, I'm saying amateur, not that we're professional, but other people who get pulled over by the cops start asking for name and badge number now. That's something that they've seen enough on YouTube where they know to do that for themselves. So the educational benefit of, hey, know your rights. People are starting to know their rights. I see that a lot more now. Have you guys seen that or not?
Yeah, I have, and actually, I've gotten emails and I've gotten comments about people that say that watching what we do is empowering to them and has impacted them in a positive way.
Right on.
And that that makes me feel great because
Agreed.
it's tough to see these videos day after day of not even our audits don't go so bad, but I mean day after day of police beating people or shooting people or just choking them out or doing whatever. That none of that's happened to me yet. So but I'm talking about the videos that we all see that aren't from auditors, that are just from normal citizens of this stuff that's going on. It's hard to watch. Um, so it helps to drive.
Yeah, as much as we're taking steps forward, they're taking several boots back, to our neck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, again, they think a lot of times that nothing's going to happen to them, especially if there's no cameras on. They definitely don't think anything's going to be happening to them.
Shit, even when there are cameras on, most of the time nothing happens to them.
Yeah, dude, I would say that strapping a GoPro to your chest is just as important as strapping a 45 to your waist these days,
Yup,
Definitely.
Yeah.
it is for sure.
Last night I went down the road. I was headed down to Fort Myers. I wanted to do a little cop watching, and I didn't even get maybe 7 miles from my house, and there was a car pulled over on 31 here on my road. And I just doxed my own road. And but I got out. I parked my car and I got out and started filming. And the guy, and I was telling the guy, the cop was asking, "Can I search your car?" And this, that, and the other. And I told him, I said, "Tell him don't answer questions. Tell him you don't want to be searched." And they got the canine out. They walked the canine around his car like, I don't even know, three times at least, maybe four. And then of course the canine hit on the part of the car, hit on the part of the car that I couldn't see. So that's what the guy said, like, "Oh, he hit on the low side of the passenger door," and I couldn't see that with camera. They tore his car apart for like 20 minutes, and then they found some residue, and they tested it in one of those crappy little brake test kits.
They confirm chocolate as heroin.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I didn't send my video. The guy that got a crispy donut every day on his way to work, but they tested some of the Krispy Kreme glaze and it tested positive for meth, right?
Yup.
So they tested it, and it tested positive for meth, and it was like residue. They had to pop the plastic off of the console to find this residue, and it tested positive for meth. And then he explained it because he knew I was there. So the cop was like, "I'm just explaining, it tests positive for meth, and that's why my dog hit. That's why I searched your car." And he was being all polite for the camera, but it was full of shit. they're all not.
Of
They're all full of
course,
shit. And
because that's where I keep my
I don't
meth.
even remember what I started talking about. Yeah, exactly. I don't remember what I started talking about, but yeah, I got off of my tangent. That they're all full of shit. That's my point. They're all full of shit.
On that note,
Yeah, I think it's time that I head
Got any
on out.
grants
It's
to-
getting late.
yep.
I do want to tell everybody that I did just publish the skate park story from Gainesville yesterday, so that's up and publicly available now on the Bang channel. I'll be doing some updates on that as well. So we're going to be at you on Tuesday. So we'll see everybody then.
Yes, we will. Have a good evening, everybody. Goodbye.
Awesome. Captain Awesome. News Now, South Florida. GA the Gladiator. Eyes on the State. Take care, y'all.
Rice Krispie. You too,
Take care. Take care.